But this one I had to struggle with personal development. It was hard for me to give up my old blame list. It was so comfortable blaming the government, blaming negative relatives, the company policy, unions, wage scale, the economy, interest rates, prices and circumstances, all of that. That was difficult for me to give up. It was quite a transition for me to make, and even blaming myself. But Mr. Schoaf started out with something very, very important. Let me share that with you. He said, it's not what happens that determines the major part of your future. It's not what happens. What happens to us all. He said, the key is what you do about it. It's not what happens, it's what you do about it. And he said, if you will start that process of change, do something different the next 90 days than you did the last 90 days, like picking up the books to read, do something different. Try new health disciplines, build a relationship with your family, whatever it is. It doesn't matter how small it is. If you'll start doing different things with the same circumstances, since we cannot change the circumstances, but we can change ourselves, we can change what we do. Then he gave me another secret to success when he said, what you have at the moment, Mr. Rohn, you've attracted by the person you become. What you have at the moment, you've attracted by the person you've become. A few simple principles here, but once you understand these, they explain so much. Now, sometimes it's a little tough to take blaming yourself instead of the marketplace, taking responsibility instead of putting it off on someone else. That transition sometimes is a challenging mission, and this one was a little tough for me. He said, Mr. Rohn, you've got pennies in your pocket, nothing in the bank, the creditors are calling, you're behind on your promises. And he says, here's how that occurs. You've attracted the things to you up until now because of the person you've become. Now I said, well, how can I change all that? He said, very simple. If you will change, everything will change for you. You don't have to change what's outside. All you have to change is what's inside. To have more, you simply have to become more. Then he said, don't wish it were easier. Wish you were better. Don't wish for fewer problems. Wish for more skills. Start working on yourself, making these personal changes. And he said, it'll all change for you. So let's talk a little about personal development. And in helping kids understand personal development, I always start with money. We get paid for bringing value to the marketplace. Key to understanding economics, we get paid for bringing value to the marketplace. The marketplace is also described as reality, the marketplace. Now, it takes time to bring value to the marketplace, but we don't get paid for time. It's very important for kids to understand, as well as adults, we don't get paid for time. Mistakenly, the man says, I'm making about $20 an hour. Not true, not true. If that were true, you could just stay home and have them send you your money. No, it's not true. You don't get paid for the hour, you get paid for the value you put in the time. So we don't get paid for time, we get paid for value. Now, since that's true, here's one of the key questions of the afternoon. Is it possible to become twice as valuable and make twice as much money in the same time? Of course, if you want to really emphasize something, that's a good phrase to use, of course, of course. All you have to do to earn more money in the same time is simply become more valuable. America is unique. It's a ladder to climb. And it starts down here, what? About $4 an hour, right? This is not a bed, it's a ladder. This is a ladder to climb. It starts at $4. Now, somebody says, well, it should be $5, should be $5. Well, maybe if you're going to stay at the bottom for the rest of your life, it probably should be. But that's a pitiful way to live. Start and not grow, start and not change, start and not become more valuable. Hey, the whole scenario of life is to start at number one and then what? Become more valuable, number two. Now, why would we pay somebody only $4 an hour? They're not very valuable to the marketplace. We have to make that distinction to the marketplace. They might be a valuable brother, a valuable member of the community, a valuable member of the church, valuable in the sight of God, to the human family, of course, those kinds of values. But to the marketplace, which is called what? Reality. Reality is if you're not very valuable, you don't get much money. Those are called the facts. That's how it is. So then, how do you get more money? Simple answer. Somebody says, well, I'll go on strike for more. Here's a major problem with that. You can't get rich by demand. Somebody says, well, I'm waiting for a raise. I'm telling you, it's easier to climb than to wait for a raise. Why not just become more valuable rather than wait? I'm telling you, that's the key to all good things becoming more valuable. I got a telephone call 5 years ago. A company said, we're ready to expand internationally. We need some help. I was sort of semi-retired, right, looking for the next exotic beach. They said, no, no, Mr. Rohn, we've got a project for you. We're going to expand internationally. We could use your help. The next little while, we'll add some millions to your fortune, make it worth your while. I said, okay. I thought later, isn't it interesting that they called me? My second thought was, of course they'd call me. Who else would they call? I mean, I can get the job done. Now, how come I got a telephone call worth millions? I had become valuable. Now, I'm a farm boy from Idaho, raised in obscurity with 1 year of college, and I thought I was thoroughly educated. I made all kinds of mistakes galore. At age 25, the creditors were calling me, saying, hey, you told us the check was in the mail. I had pennies in my pocket, nothing in the bank, behind on my promises. So how did I get a telephone call 5 years ago worth millions? I changed. I turned my life around. Is it possible to become worth millions speaking economically now? There are a lot of values to become, but let's just talk economics. Is it possible to become that valuable? The answer is of course. Now, let me give you the secret. Show fed, here's the secret, Mr. Rohn. Learn to work harder on yourself than you do on your job. Once I understood that, it turned my life around. Learn to work harder on yourself than you do on your job. He said, if you work hard on your job, you'll make a living. If you work hard on yourself, you can make a fortune. Wow. If you'd known me at age 25, you'd have said Jim Rohn's a hard worker. If you'd known me, you'd have said that. I was the guy who didn't mind coming a little early, staying a little late. You'd have said Jim Rohn's a hard worker. So how come he's got pennies in his pocket, nothing in the bank, and is behind on his promises? I was a hard worker, but I was working hard on my job, not on myself. I'm telling you, if you'll learn that simple little principle and start the process today, latest tomorrow, I'll give you tonight to think it over and start this whole process of personal development, working on yourself, making yourself more valuable to the marketplace. I'm telling you, you can dynamically change your income. And economics is the least of the values you'll start earning in terms of equity if you'll start working harder on yourself than on your job. Work hard on your skills. Work hard on yourself and develop the graces, all the skills necessary to become more valuable to the marketplace. I'm telling you, your whole life can explode into change. Promotions, no problem. Becoming more valuable to the company, no problem. Money, no problem. Economics, no problem. Future, no problem. If you just go to work on the right thing, don't try to get things out there to change. Don't try to change the seed, don't change the soil, don't change the sunshine, don't change the rain, don't change the mix of seasons. Let the miracle of everything that's available work for you and start working on the inside. Work on your philosophy, work on your attitude, work on your personality, work on your language, work on the gift of communication, work on all your abilities. And if you'll start making those personal changes, I'm telling you, everything will change for you.